Hello everyone, welcome back. I hope I'm audible, I hope I'm visible. Okay, now let's begin our discussion on the state executive, right? Last session of the day. So now state executive comprising of what? Comprising of the tell me, state executive comprises of number one, governor, then chief minister, then council of ministers, then MLA. MLAs, MPs are legislators, not executive. Then advocate general. Absolutely correct. So the state executive is under part 6 of the Indian Constitution. Union, part 5. States, part 6. It consists of governor, chief minister, council of ministers, advocate general. Clear? Okay. Let's now move on and understand about the first person here, the head of the state, the governors. So, who are these governors? Governors in our country appointed under the provisions of the Indian Constitution, appointed under the provisions of Article 155 and removal under Article 156. How are governors appointed? Very, very simple procedure by the president. That's it. No election, no voting, nothing. How are they removed? By the president. No reason, no procedure, no voting, nothing. Clear? Now, one point is that the tenure of governors is 5 years. But can be removed, can be transferred anytime. It's not that they have a fixed tenure. No, no. They can be transferred at any point of time. And when I say by the president, I mean to say on the advice of Council of Ministers. And hence, now tell me, if your appointment, if your removal, if your transfer, everything is at the hands of the president or the government only, will you ever be able to become independent? Tell me. Yes or no? Of course, independence is going to be a challenge. This is what Supreme Court had to say in one very old case, Raghukul Tilak case. The governor is the head of the state and holds a high constitutional office which carries with it important constitutional functions and duties. And Supreme Court further says that governors cannot be regarded as an employee or servant of the government of India. Supreme Court says it and we believe it. So Supreme Court says that the governor cannot be regarded as an employee or the servant of government of India. This was a statement by Supreme Court. Supreme Court in Raghukul Tilak case 1979. Clear? So this is what Supreme Court said in the Raghukul Tilak case 1979 to tell people that don't think of the governor as some kind of central government appointee. Clear? They are people holding independent constitutional office. Anyway, we also had the provision of a common governor. That means a common governor for two or more states. This provision has been added via 7th Amendment Act 1956. Okay, that's it. Now their qualification. Article 157 talks about qualification. Age is 35. You have to be a citizen of India. That's it. Only two qualifications. Yes, Dinesh, they can be reappointed any number of times. Till the central government likes you, you keep on sending good morning texts, then it's okay. Okay. Nikhil, obedient officers. Yes, of course. See, at the time of in or around the year 2012, I'll tell you a data. Out of the states, more than half, 14 states, in 14 of those states, the that is 27 states at that point of time. So in 14 of those states, the governors were retired IAS officers. Retired IAS officers were governors. So you can very well understand that that's a very nice motivation for the day for all of you. Clear the exam, become IAS. Even after 60, the life continues. You can become a governor somewhere, right? Today's motivation. So don't focus on the cricket match. Focus on what is being taught in the class. Now, there are some suggestions to ensure independence of the governor. What are these suggestions? Firstly, the governor should be eminent in some walk of life. Very eminent people, right? Respectable people. They should be persons from outside the state. So do not have local people as governors. Why? they might come into frequent conflict with the chief minister and might interfere in the functioning of the chief minister. Then, governors should be detached figures, not too intimately connected with local politics. Detached figure, right? They should be people who should have a very separate personal life and should largely be away from the local politics of the state. Clear? Then he should be a person who has not taken too great a part in politics generally and particularly in the recent past. So, even if you are hiring a politician as a governor, make sure that the person has not been contesting elections till recently. So, if a person has no political capital left in him or her, then they may not interfere in the state government's functioning, right? So, these were all the recommendations, right, uh, of the Sarkaria Commission. So, there was a commission from 1983 to 1988 called Sarkaria Commission. This commission's task was to give recommendations on what? Recommendations on improving the functioning or ensuring the coordination between center and states. This commission, so in that regard, gave recommendations with respect to ensuring independence of governor, gave all these recommendations. Governor should be detached personalities, eminent people, etc., wide knowledge of economics and polity, all such things, and should be from outside the state. Then, one more point, tenure should be fixed, removal only through procedure. So, as of now, the tenure is not fixed. I mean, it is subject to removal at any point of time. So, a recommendation is that to remove the governor, there should be a proper procedure, just like impeachment at the state level. The MLAs, MLCs, they should vote, two-third majority, all that drama should be there. Clear? This is a recommendation of Panchi Commission. Panchi Commission recommendation that the tenure should be fixed, and in case you want to remove the governor, we have to take this power away from the center and have a proper procedure of voting. Panchi, Punchhi. Panchi Commission was chaired by retired former Chief Justice of India, Madan Mohan Panchi. So, Madan Mohan Panchi was the Chief Justice of India in the year 1998-99. And Sarkaria Commission, chaired by former retired Supreme Court Judge Justice Ranjit Singh Sarkaria. Okay. Are we clear, everybody? Any doubt, any concern? Please raise your concern right now. Okay. Some walk of life. See, when it comes to puja, walk of life. Walk of life basically refers to uh, some aspect, some domain. They should be eminent in some domain, in some field, in some area. This will, make them eminent persons, persons who have proved their worth in some field, right? Some expert in some area who command respect and authority in some field. That is what some walk of life means. Okay. Now, conditions of governor's office. What are the conditions? They shall not be an MP. They shall not be an MP, MLA, MLC. They should not hold any office of profit. and their emoluments and allowances cannot be diminished during their term of office. Emoluments and allowances, salaries given to governor will not be diminished while they are in office. But one point is that the emoluments and allowances of the governor is charged on CFS. What is CFS? Consolidated Fund of the State. And what is charged expenditure? Please tell me, what's the meaning of charge expenditure? Only what, Himadri? No. What's no? No voting, only discussion, right? So that is what is charged expenditure. Now, no voting, only discussion. But one point to note is that there is a law in the country which deals with the salaries of governors. That law is called Governors Emoluments Act 1982. But this law has been made by Parliament. Made by Parliament. So, Parliament has made the law to decide on the salary of governors. And can I ask you, the salary of governor is mentioned in which schedule? Will you be able to tell me the salary of governor is under which schedule? Confusion? The salary is under the second schedule of the Indian Constitution. Clear? What about oath of the governor? Oath. Oath of the governor is administered to the governor by the CJ of the High Court. But the oath is under which schedule? Please write the answer again. Dinesh, Kambapati, Ragini, Anuranjan, the only people with the correct answer. Others, extremely sorry to disappoint you, but Schedule 3 does not contain the oath of the governor. The oath of president, vice president, and governor is in a specific article. Article 159. Clear? The third schedule contains the oath of ministers, candidates, legislators, SC and High Court judges, and the CAG. Revision, very, very important. Okay. Now, moving on. Solve this question. Came in 2018. I'll give you 45 seconds. Let's see how many of you get this answer correct. Okay, a lot of you have marked B as the answer. That's surprising because we have this was seen just now. Emolument allowances not to be diminished. That's okay. But tell me, have we seen this? This was a correct statement. No criminal proceedings shall be instituted against the governor of a state during their term of office. I want to know which number to write here. Tell me, which article? Just two people with the right answer so far, Kambapati and Arunanjan. This is a Himadri also. This is Article 361. Immunity given to the President and the Governor. No arrests, no imprisonment, no warrants, no criminal case, not being held accountable in any court, and civil cases can only be filed with 2 months prior notice. Article 361. Now, both the statements are correct. Right answer is C, both 1 and 2. Moving on now to understanding the provisions of the governor. So, let me tell you something. We have Article 74. Yes or no? What is Article 74? This aid and advice of the Prime Minister. Just like you have Article 74, at the state level, a similar article, not the exact same thing, correspondingly similar article is 163. Article 74, 163. If you remember this association, you can draw other associations also. Like, what is Article 75? Article 75 is all these articles, clauses which talk about appointment of the Prime Minister, other ministers, collective accountability, right? Nayak article, all these things. A similar article is at the state level is what? 74 plus 1, 163 plus 4, 1, 164. Or what is Article 72? Tell me. 72. Quick. The pardoning powers, clemency powers of the president. Right? 74 minus 2 is 72. 163 minus 2 is 161. This is the clemency power of the governor. Or what is Article 76? Tell me. Article 76 is the Attorney General of India. 74 plus 2 is 76. 163 plus 2 is 165. What is that? Advocate General of the state. What is Article 78? Tell me. 78 refers to the duty. It's the duty of the PM to furnish information to the president. 74 plus 4, 78. 163 plus 4, 167. Duty of the CM to furnish information. So this way you can simply correlate the articles. So no need to mug up. Use it here only, not everywhere else. Now, very important point. Even though I have said that Article 74 is like Article 163, but still the difference is very much visible. Let's read now. There shall be a council of ministers with the chief minister at the head to aid and advise the governor in the exercise of his functions. Somewhat like this only, right? Governor has to perform his functions on the aid and advice of council of ministers chaired by the chief minister. No problem. Very nice. But tell me, where is it mentioned? The governor shall act in accordance with the said advice. Is it mentioned? No. Constitutionally, aid and advice not binding. Clear? So, constitutionally, the aid, the advice is not binding, but nevertheless, uh, in fact, rather than making it binding, the constitution clearly gives the governor some discretionary power. Look at this. There shall be ministers with CM to aid and advise the governor in the exercise performance of his functions, except insofar as the governor is, by or under this constitution, required to exercise his functions or any of them in his discretion. Forget binding. There are some areas where the governor can exercise discretion also. Can exercise discretion. But then who decides whether something is a discretionary power of governor or not? For that, let's read more. If any question arises whether any matter is or is not a matter with respect to which the governor is by or under this constitution required to act in his discretion. If there's any question which arises on what is a discretion, who decides? The decision of the governor in his discretion shall be final. So, governor can exercise discretion, and this discretion is actually decided by governor himself. Are we clear? Look at this. If any question arises, then the decision of governor shall be final. He decides what is the discretionary power that he has. Though, uh, to quote Panchi Commission, so Panchi Commission actually mentioned the statement that the area for the exercise of discretion of the governor is very limited, and even in this limited area, his choice of action should never appear to be arbitrary, to be fanciful, right? It must be a choice dictated by reason, activated by good faith, and tempered by caution. So, commissions have also suggested that, see, governor, don't start enjoying your powers just because things are not mentioned as binding. Don't start enjoying those powers. They are not actually binding. They are actually binding. And secondly, don't think that just because there is some discretion there, it means you are independent. And Supreme Court has also said the same thing on multiple occasions. Why I say this is because ultimately, uh, you are a part of a parliamentary form of government. And we know very well that in a parliamentary form of government, who is the real boss? Tell me. In the parliamentary form of government, head of the government is always a real boss. So in the state, who is the head of the government? Chief Minister. So at the level of the state, the CM is the boss. Sorry, Governor, you are not the boss. So this is something we have to understand. And rather, the governors have to understand, and center also. So this is Article 163, which summarizes the relationship between the governor and the Chief Minister. Okay. Now coming to powers and functions that the governor performs. So I will not be repeating all those powers of summoning the session, proroguing the session, all that is there. Same kind of power. Like the president gives address, governor also gives the address. President will give a address on some important sessions. Governors also address on some important sessions. Those things are exactly the same. We'll read those differences in the powers of president and the governor. So the governor can recommend the imposition of what is called constitutional emergency. Now, some of you would know this as President's Rule. Clear? President's Rule. This is basically Article 356. We'll discuss later on what is President's Rule, not right now. Ignore it. Second thing, the governor acts as the chancellor of universities in the state. So, as far as the state universities are concerned, state universities, governor is the chancellor. This is not mentioned in the constitution. This is as per the university laws in various states. Laws in various states. Clear? So, basically, in your state, all the state universities, their chancellor, the topmost post, is given to the governor. Clear? Now, let me clarify. This is just a formal position. Don't think that the governor starts running the university. The real boss who takes care of day-to-day administration of the university is the vice chancellor only. The governor should come, sit in the annual day, founders day functions, eat nice food, watch the programs, enjoy, go back home. Right? So that is what is the expectation. Clear? So this is there. Uh, he acts as a chancellor of universities in the state. Then legislative powers. So we know that some states have this body called councils. We'll discuss the councils tomorrow. Please tell me which states have councils. Name of all the 6 states. I want to know. In one message only, write names of all 6 states and send the message. Instructions were very clear. Write the names of all the states in one message only and send it. Only one person so far with the correct answer. Okay, few of you are now giving the correct answer. So we have Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Telangana, and UP. Please cross check. Have you mentioned these 6 states only? If yes, correct answer. Very good. Now, these states have SLC, State Legislative Council, meaning an additional body like an upper house. Now, of the members of the SLC, 1/6 members are nominated by the governor from amongst people who have vast experience, right? Special knowledge in the field of five fields now, not four: literature, science, art, social service. These are common fields with the present also, and cooperative movement. So, just like the president can appoint or can nominate 12 MPs to Rajya Sabha, the governor can nominate or does nominate 1/6 of the MPs to the what? State legislative councils. One more thing. Uh, Plus, at the state level also, there used to be a provision of Anglo-Indian nomination. So, can also nominate one Anglo-Indian. This also has ceased to operate in January 2020. Okay, just like at the central level, this here at center, how many people could be nominated? Two Anglo-Indians. At the state, one Anglo-Indian. Clear? And then we have the concept of ordinances. In fact, the all the cases we saw under the topic precedent, DC Vadhwa, Krishna Kumar Singh, they were all the ordinances for the governor only. So governor has the power to promulgate ordinances. Before we discuss ordinances, I want you to understand the passage of bills and the governor's signature, the need for assent in the passage of bills. So this is Article 200. So the governor also has veto powers: absolute veto, pocket veto, suspensive veto, and a very unique kind of veto called referential veto. This has been borrowed from Canada. So if you ever look at the Canadian Constitution, you will find in their section 55 the same provision, right? Clear? Now, what is this referential veto? So I hope you know absolute, reject, pocket, take no action, suspensive, send back once for reconsideration. What is this referential veto? Let's understand. Now, see, when it comes to the legislative assembly, or let's write state state legislature, state legislature passes a bill. They pass a bill. This bill is sent to whom? Sent to governor. Now, at any point of time, if the governor feels the need to reserve the bill for center's consideration, what will be a reason? We'll discuss that shortly. Then the governor can reserve the bill for center's consideration. Can reserve for president's consideration. Clear? Now the bill comes to the president. As soon as the governor reserves the bill for president's consideration, governor's role comes to an end. Now the bill is between the president and the state legislature. Now the president can give assent, etc. Or the president can also return the bill. What if the president returns the bill? Return for reconsideration of the state legislature. This bill comes back to the state legislature. Now what happens is the state legislature must decide on the bill within 6 months. Must decide within 6 months, or else bill lapses. Bill is over, dead, khatam. Clear? Bill lapses. If the state legislature decides if passed again. Now here comes the catch. If the same situation was with the parliament, that the president returns a bill for the consideration of the parliament, then if the parliament passes the bill again, then what can the president do now? Tell me. President, which veto can he use? Of course, president cannot use any veto. He must sign, right? Has to give assent. But in the case of state, if such a bill comes from state legislature, the president may or still may not give assent. Clear? Excuse me. So the point I'm trying to make here is that the state legislature cannot override the center's power, the president's power. And also one more thing, here when the governor sends back the bill to the sends the bill to the president, then in reality who is taking the decision, the president or the council of ministers? Tell me. In this case, who is taking a decision, the president or council of ministers? Do you remember I had said that while teaching precedent, that everything mentioned under the discretionary power is the only power of president, nothing beyond that. This power is not the president's power, it's the central government's power. Are we clear? All this just to clear your misconception, if you have any. All this power is done on the aid and advice of council of ministers, that is PM. Clear? It is not the president's power actually. Here it is not president's power, but in a case of parliamentary bill, it's president's power. Difference. Okay, that's there. So this is with respect to the power of the governor to reserve the bill for the consideration of the President of India. Clear? Now, what are those conditions when he should reserve the bill? So look at this first. President can give his assent. Yes, of course, give assent. Very good. President can withhold assent. Absolute veto. Very good. Return the bill if it is not a money bill. Even for the state government, the money bills can't be returned. Now, it is not obligatory for the president to give his assent, even if the bill is again passed by the legislature and and sent again to him for his consideration. Clear? So this is the referential veto part of the Indian precedent. Now, what are those conditions, those situations where the governor can reserve the bill for the center's consideration? What situation? First one is mandatory, constitutional obligation. This one. Abrogating from powers of state high court, meaning if at any point of time the state tries to pass any bill which abrogates, takes away, lessens, reduces the powers of state high court. If you try to take away some state high court's power, the state government brings a bill, then sorry, the governor must reserve the bill for the center's consideration. Must reserve. Okay? So in this case, such bills must be reserved. In all other cases, it is optional. It may not reserve. These are optional. Discretion of the governor. Meaning, may or may not reserve. If at any point of time the governor feels that any bill is what? Any bill is ultra vires. What is the meaning of ultra vires? Ultra vires means beyond, outside the scope of. Ultra vires. If any bill is beyond the scope of constitution, a governor can reserve such a bill for center. If it is opposed to DPSP, directive principles of state policy, what are these? We'll discuss later on. Then such bills can be reserved. If a bill is against the larger interest of the country, can be reserved. Is of grave national importance, can be reserved. Or the bill deals with the compulsory acquisition of property by the government of the people, can be reserved. In all these cases, it is not mandatory, optional. This one, the governor has no power. He has to reserve such a bill for the center's consideration. I hope this point is clear. Everybody? No doubt? Okay, let's assume that this point is clear. Now, I would like to raise a very important concern here, a concern that you must have heard. Now, have you heard of this issue? This issue, which is the NEET bill. NEET. Any idea? Have you heard of this thing called NEET? No? NEET examinations. So just like you have the examination to select students for the engineering colleges, similarly, you have examinations to select students for the what? Medical colleges. And National Testing Agency conducts this examination. It's an MCQ based examination, 180 questions, 720 marks, plus 4 minus 1, and largely the focus is on asking questions from NCRTs. Anyway, let's not discuss what this exam pattern is. Some other faculty in Byju's will discuss this. So for that, join the NEET course of Byju's. Anyway, so this examination basically selects people or kids for medical colleges to become doctor in the simplest of language. Now, Supreme Court had said that a centralized uh, national entrance examination is a very sensible decision taken by the authorities because it promotes, enhances merit, promotes excellence, and it also keeps a check on or represses any wrongdoings which can creep in the admission criteria. That's the point. Now, Tamil Nadu government said we don't want to conduct examinations through, or we don't want to be a part of NEET when it comes to selecting students for the medical colleges in Tamil Nadu. So for that, they formed a committee also, Justice A.K. Rajan Committee. Now, I'm not sure if the committee's recommendation was logical or not, but the committee said that NEET examination is heavily biased in the favor of physics, chemistry, and biology, instead of being open to testing students in all possible knowledge, as in the state board examinations. Now, A.K. Rajan committee says that in the state examination, state board exams, people are comprehensively tested on all parameters. But in this medical exam, they're asking questions only on physics, chemistry, biology. This is wrong. Now you tell me, sir, ma'ams, here, if you are selecting students for a medical college, what is the importance of history and geography there? So I'm not sure how relevant this statement was. Anyway, then the A.K. Rajan committee says that the NEET exam is again social justice. Why? Because it favors rich students who can take advantage of coaching and the poor cannot. Again, a baseless argument. Even for the state board examinations to prepare, students can take part in coaching. Coaching has got nothing to do with the type of examination. If there's an exam, there'll be coaching. And then it started making all these statements without any basis that NEET is directionless, it is anti merit, it enables and empowers low performing students to get admission in MBBS. I'm not sure how this committee gave a recommendation like this. This actually, I mean, made no sense. And then said that elimination of NEET will be able to ensure social justice in the country, will protect all the vulnerable students, communities from being discriminated in admission to medical education programs, etc. And Tamil Nadu, if it keeps on being a part of NEET, it would go down in the rank among states in the medical and healthcare system. Okay, so this was the report. Now, Tamil Nadu tried to pass a bill which was popularly called as anti NEET bill. Okay, they wanted to be outside the NEET examinations. Herein comes the catch. This NEET or selection to technical education. Now, basically, this topic is technical education, right? So, the question is this topic of technical education belongs to which list? Technical education is a part of concurrent list. Concurrent list. Okay. Meaning both center and states can make laws. But we know very well on concurrent list topics, if both center and states can make laws, who has the overriding power? Center has the overriding power, right? Now, so if the Tamil Nadu government wants to make a law which violates a central law, how can this law prevail? Can this law survive? Tell me, is this even possible? Is this even allowed? Uh, this is actually allowed. It's possible. It might come as a surprise to you. It's possible. But the condition is center must approve it. Clear? So there is an article 254 which says that the governor may reserve a bill which is repugnant. Repugnant means opposed. Which is repugnant, meaning opposed to. Repugnant to a central law on concurrent list subject, and such laws can continue to exist or operate if the president gives consent. If president gives consent. Are we clear on this, everyone? So I'll explain this point again. If at any point of time there's a law on the concurrent list topic and the center has made a law, now the state wants to make a law which violates the central law. This can be allowed if the state asks center's permission, and if the center, the president, says okay, state, no problem, continue with your law, then it can continue. So it is not that the state can override. No, the state laws which are violating the center laws can only continue if the center allows for it. Here also center is the boss. They will allow or disallow. Clear, everybody? Article 254. So when this anti-NEET bill was passed, basically Article 254 kicks in, where the governor should. Now, in the constitution, they have mentioned governor may reserve the bill. So when such a bill was sent to the governor, R.N. Ravi, so he made a mistake there. He actually sent back the bill to the chief minister, in the legislature. He should not have done this, because when you send back the bill, you are placing a limitation on yourself, because if the assembly passes the bill again, now because of suspensive veto you have to sign the bill, right? And this is exactly what happened. M.K. Stalin's government signed the passed it again. Now the governor had to sign, but this time the governor reserved the bill for the president. Now this is not constitutionally appropriate. In the first instance, only the governor should have reserved the bill for the center's consideration. But sadly, that was not done. Anyway, this was a concern. And but then also to point this, R.N. Ravi himself was a former bureaucrat. Maybe he has forgotten all these provisions. He must have cleared the exam in 1980s and all. So he forgot that these are the provisions. He did not revise the constitution regularly, of course. Anyway, but what is also not appropriate is that the statement made by the Tamil Nadu chief minister, uh, M.K. Stalin. So he made a statement that that the governor is refusing to do a simple postman's job is unbecoming of the post he holds. Now, nothing against postmen, with all due respect. Calling governor a postman and his job as a postman's job, now that's also not justified. I think the CM should have understood that the governor in the order of precedence is way higher, is fourth in the order, too much in the hierarchy than the chief minister. But anyway, so be it. So, we see that the state governments also do not show the dignity, courtesy, respect to such constitutional posts. And how much they follow the constitution, we'll come to know as and when the time proceeds, when we study panchayats and all. So, state governments want the center to follow all the provisions of the constitution. But when it comes to them, hypocrisy. As one leader said, hypocrisy has its limits. Hypocrisy ki bhi seema hoti hai. That's the same thing. Anyway, that's of no concern to us. Our concern is Article 254, this information, because it has been in news. So now you know, and the example is anti-NEET bill. Okay, that's there. Now, since you know this information, let's come back here to ordinances. Same provision. What is ordinance? A temporary law made when either house is not in session or both houses are not in session, promulgated by the governor on the advice of council of ministers. Now, when you make or when you promulgate certain ordinances, sometimes these ordinances require president's consent also. Without president's instruction, some type of ordinances can't be promulgated. For example, look at this. A similar act of legislature would have required president's consent to be held valid if a law was passed by the legislature, it would need the center's consent. So if you are trying to make that particular law as an ordinance, the ordinance should also require center's consent. Yes or no? I'll repeat this point again. And I think I'll firstly ask a question to you. The area or the domain and the extent of the state legislature and their power is the area, domain, and extent of the power of state government. Yes or no? Tell me, what do you think? Whatever is the limit of the state legislature's power is the limit of the state government's power. Yes or no? What do you think? Yes, of course. Okay, fair enough. Everybody agrees on this, that that is how it should be. So, on a certain topic, let's say anti-NEET bill, if the state government or state assembly wants to pass an anti-NEET bill, this is like violating a central law. So the right thing would be to get center's approval. So now, if the MK Stalin government tries to bring an anti-NEET ordinance, do you think the governor should sign the ordinance directly? Tell me, just this much. If an anti-NEET ordinance is brought, then what should the governor do? What should the governor do? The governor, yes, because it is binding. No, no, no. If an anti-NEET ordinance is brought, governor should reserve the ordinance for the president. Are we clear? Because because the state government has no power to make an ordinance on topics where center has already made a law on a concurrently subject. Simple. So a similar act of legislature, example, anti NEET bill, would have required president's consent to be held valid. So this is an example of Article 254 type of law. Did we understand this point? That if at any point of time the state government tries to promulgate such an ordinance which tries to violate a law made by central government or center on a concurrent list subject, such ordinances must be referred to the president by the governor. Clear? Point 1. Point 2. Now look at this. If the state assembly passes a bill which abrogates, takes away the power of state high court, what should the governor do for such bills? You will say, sir, governor should reserve such bills for center's consideration. I fully agree. Now imagine if the state government tries to promulgate an ordinance to take away the power of state high court. Then what should the governor do? If the state government tries to promulgate an ordinance which takes away the powers of the state high court, what should the governor do? Tell me. Governor should refer the ordinance to the big boss president. Simple. This is Article 200 type case. Clear on this? And number 3, if a bill otherwise requires permission of the president. An example of this is money bills during financial emergency. So as of now, we don't know this, but whenever in the country there is a financial emergency, the center can ask the state governments to send all their budgets to the center because country has no money, so don't waste money. So in those kind of situations, if there's a financial emergency, then if the state government tries to promulgate an ordinance, then maybe the governor should not maybe, then the governor should send that ordinance to the center if the center says so. Clear? These are 3 additional conditions on ordinances at the state level. These conditions were not there at the central level because there is no authority above the center. Simple. That is why. Are we clear on this? Everyone okay? See, this statement says very simple. Just think of this. I mean, if you have understood this, this flows naturally. The underlying meaning is that if at any point of time you try to pass a bill and the bill needs the center's approval, then if you try to promulgate ordinance, the ordinance should also need center's approval. Simple. Niranjan, are we okay now? If you try to pass a bill which needs center's approval, then if you try to promulgate an ordinance on the same topic, that should also need the center's approval. That is what is being done. Nothing unique. Clear? That is a ordinance making power. A question is asked last year only. Discuss the essential conditions for exercise of the legislative powers by the governor. Now, a big question that can come in the mind of our emotional and innocent aspirants. Oh, legislative power. Wow. This would definitely mean let's write everything. No, 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 no. As per the constitution, this only refers to ordinances, nothing else. Please don't write anything else. Are we clear on this? It's only ordinances. So, discuss the essential conditions for the exercise of the legislative powers by the governor. Mention everything or ordinances. Discuss the legality of repromulgation of ordinances by the governor without placing them before legislature. So basically, you have to also mention the Krishna Kumar Singh judgment of 2017 and also offer your suggestions. Clear? And plus mention all these things, the entire page, plus talk about how, in situations we need to have uh, either house not in session, recess, all those things. Just mention that. Now moving on and coming to Dinesh, discuss the legality. Is it legal or not? That's what you have to discuss. Clear? So discuss the legality of repromulgation of ordinances. That's what you have to discuss. Legality. Whether it is legal or not. Now coming to judicial powers. The governor is consulted by the president. Acha, one small question. I want to ask you a question. Please tell me. Okay, let's take a poll only on this. 10 seconds. A for Supreme or A for President, B for Governor. Who appoints the judges of the High Court? A for Supreme Court, B for Governor. Oh, sorry, A for President, B for the Governor. Tell me, who appoints judges of High Court? Type A if President, B if Governor. Okay, a lot of you marked it absolutely correct. We had seen this and I had specifically told you that the president appoints the judges of Supreme Court and the High Courts. So he is just consulted by the president while appointing the judges of the concerned state high court. Just consulted. The official appointment is done by the what? By the president. Satish, I'll address your concern, but before that, you say that do we need the office of governor? Uh, of course we do. So let us at least have comprehensive knowledge of the topic to make an assessment whether the topic of whether the post is important or not. What if coming in future you see that the post has a lot of powers? So at least have the patience. We'll discuss that. You yourself will have a answer to this question. Okay. Second thing, the governor appoints. Now here the governor makes the appointment, appoints, and also postings and promotions, making appointments, putting their postings, promotions, meaning posting meaning transfers, and promotions of the lower court judges in consultation with the state high court. This is not the power of governor, it is a power of high court actually. So high court gives recommendation and based on that the appointment is made. Clear? Okay. Now clemency power. Clemency power of the governor is just like that of the president, except two different things here. One point of difference in the clemency power of the governor is that governors cannot pardon death sentences. Clear? Governor cannot pardon death sentence. Second point of difference with respect to the clemency power is that the governor cannot use his clemency power with respect to punishments or sentence by a court martial, military court, military court. Why? Because it's the center which controls armed forces. It's the president who is the supreme commander of the defense forces. So governor has no power. If a military court has punished you, then sorry, governors cannot use their clemency power. And governors cannot pardon a death sentence. Can commute, but cannot pardon. Are you clear? Governors cannot directly pardon death sentence. They can commute it. Then they can pardon jail sentence. That's okay, but they cannot pardon a death sentence. Now, one more point. One more point. So far, we have seen two types of clemencies. One clemency is available with the president. The other clemency is available with the what? Governor. Now, let me tell you one more power. This is available with the government. CRPC, the Code of Criminal Procedure, Section 432. This says that remission allowed by government. Government has the power to remit the sentences. Now, please tell me what's the meaning of remission? I would love to know. Tell me, everybody, what's the meaning of remission? Why this silence now? Okay, some of you are absolutely correct. Uh, Remission means to reduce the period of punishment without making any change in the nature or character, reducing the time period. So if somebody has been given jail sentence for 20 years, remission would mean reducing it to 12 years, 8 years. Remission, reducing the duration of punishment. State governments and central governments are also allowed to reduce the punishment period. But there is one more section, which is section 433 capital A, which says that in case of life imprisonment, in case of life imprisonment, remission can't be shown or done before 14 years. Now, let me tell you a very interesting piece of information that you must have seen in the movies. In movies, they always show life imprisonment means how much? 14 years jail. Yes or no? 14 years jail. From where do they get the concept of 14 years? Here only. So basically, what happens is the state government or central government can also reduce your punishment based on good behavior. But if the court has given you life imprisonment, right, then your punishment cannot be reduced to under 14 years by the central or state government. Governor can pardon you, president can pardon you, that's a separate power. But under section 432 and 433A, your period of punishment cannot be less than 14 years. Did we all understand this point? Tell me, please. Did we all understand the point? So what I'm trying to say is that at any point of time, if you have been given life imprisonment, you can go and seek the remission from the president or the governor. They have power to reduce a punishment to 1 day also. That they can. But state or central government, they do not have this power under the CRPC to reduce the punishment to less than 14 years. So you'll have to be in jail for at least 14 years in case you have been given life imprisonment. Are we clear now? Okay. Now, let me tell you what and how this comes into picture. There was a case of Bilkis Bano on the 28th of February. So the story starts with Sabarmati Express being set on fire and Kar Sevaks died who were coming back from Ayodhya pilgrimage, died, burned to death in a trapped train compartment. The result, what? Complete chaos and riots. On 28th of February 2002, Bilkis Banu fled her village, Radhikpur, that is in Dahod district, with a small kid and 14, 15 other people. I think on 3rd of March, she was attacked by a mob. 3 people survived. And it has all been taken care of by NHRC, Supreme Court, CBI, right? And then, when she was brutally attacked with murders of other people, rape, etc., that she faced, now this trial took place in Gujarat, but because of the threat that she was receiving, the trial was moved out from Gujarat to Maharashtra. Finally, life sentence was given, right, which was upheld by Bombay High Court in 2017. And Bilkis Bano was also given compensation of 50 lakh rupees. But one of the convicts, he approached the Bombay High Court for remission, that please show remission. One of the convicts approached Gujarat High Court. Gujarat High Court said go to Maharashtra government. Bombay High Court said go to Gujarat government. They both went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court said last year go to Gujarat government. Why? Because it does not matter where the case was being done. Case was being held in which court. What matters is the place of crime. It was in Gujarat. So you can approach the convicts. Then said, okay, we will approach the Gujarat government to seek remission under this provision. To seek remission. So now what happened? Date of conviction, meaning punishment date for the Bilkis Bano case, was the year 2008. On the day these people were punished, they approached the Gujarat government for remission. Gujarat government showed remission. Life sentence was reduced to the minimum possible time. And what is the minimum possible time to which a life sentence can be reduced by a state government? Please tell me. If you are given a life imprisonment, the state government can reduce it to minimum 14 years. Add 14 years. 2022. Last year, they completed 14 years. Exact 14 years, the date was reduced, and hence they were allowed to go. Right? So, this was a concern. Now, the problem is that center was not consulted in this. And when this remission is given, usually the reference is made to a committee that can look into whether why does the state government have this power. So this case is not important. There was a very old case not important, Lakshman Naskar case. Now I'm getting a bit too technical here, but just for basic understanding, not for the examination. In the Lakshman Naskar case, back in the year 2000, the court had made some rules how to show remission, because somebody has committed a crime for which the court gave life imprisonment. life imprisonment, right? And you are reducing it to 14 years. There should be some kind of logic behind it. So understand that number one, the act was an individual offense. The act was not a crime against society. Then you can show remission. Number two, uh, the convict has no potential left to commit a crime. Maybe he is too old now. Number three, chance of the crime being committed by the person in future is negligible, meaning the person is genuinely feeling guilty, the criminal. Number four, is there any logic now, any purpose being served to in keeping the convict inside the prison? If there's no logic now, then you can show remission. And also the socio-economic condition of the convict's family. Based on these things only should the remission be shown. It's a very, very important step. When you forgive somebody, there should be a genuine sense of remorse, acceptance of guilt in the person, right? Now, the Gujarat government showed remission based on the recommendation of this committee, and it was later found, just to give an example, that there was one of these persons who was later on let out by the Gujarat government. Remission was shown. He had been out on parole for over 1 year, roaming around here and there, right? And while he was out, he had been given a parole to go back to his family to get some personal issues resolved. While out on parole, there was a case of sexual harassment against him. Where is the remorse? Is this showing remorse? Is he feeling guilty? He is repeating a similar kind of crime when he's out. So that's a problem. So sometimes the lines get muddied between religion. So Bilkis Bano, the crime against her is not a crime by a Hindu against a Muslim or vice versa. It's a crime against humanity. So I think, and you also would agree that this is, let's not play party politics here. It's a crime against humanity. So rightful punishment should have been meted out to people. But sadly, we bring religion here also. Everywhere this demon of religion enters and spoils and pollutes everything, is what I will say. That's the beauty of this divisive topic called religion and the beauty of God, right? I can today question your interest in your choice of cricketer, choice of actor, choice of politician. I can raise questions on whether the PM's performance was good or not. I can raise questions on whether Allu Arjun deserved the national award or not. Everything is under discussion, not God. Somehow we cannot raise question on religion. That needs to be protected. Safe harbor. So that the owners of religion, the perpetrators of crime, they will take the safe harbor of religion and commit every and any kind of atrocity in the country. Anyway, so this was the clemency power of the governor. And lastly, very, very important. So somebody was mentioning this point a few moments ago, that should we have governor or not? Now the time has come to tell you that the governor is important. Why? Because there are specific responsibilities put on the governor's shoulder with respect to certain states. So if you are a governor of Maharashtra, governor of Gujarat, then as per Article 371, we the governor of Maharashtra has to establish a development board for Vidarbha and Marathwada in Maharashtra, and the governor of Gujarat has to set up a development board for Saurashtra and Kutch. Special responsibility. Then Article 371A, Nagaland, with respect to law and order in the state. So as long as there is internal disturbance in the Naga Hills and Tunsang areas, the governor can keep on controlling law and order. Very interesting provision. Why? Because law and order, public order, police is a stateless subject. Governors are central government appointment. But in Nagaland, insofar as there is some disturbance in the Tunsang areas and the Naga Hill areas, the governors can continue to control law and order. Number three, now we'll discuss this in future. Schedule 6 areas, governors are given special responsibilities in certain districts of Assam, Mizoram, Meghalaya, and Tripura. Then, Article 371C for Manipur, regarding the administration of hill areas in the state, governors have been given special powers. For Sikkim, to ensure peace, social and economic advancement, etc., governors can make rules. For Arunachal, again, the governor controls law and order with respect to Arunachal Pradesh. Then, for Karnataka, 371J, governor can establish a separate development board for the Kalyan part of Karnataka, that is the northeastern part called Hyderabad Karnataka region, but it is in Karnataka only, not in Andhra Pradesh. Okay. And lastly, with the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act, when Andhra Pradesh was made into two states, Andhra Pradesh and 10 districts into Telangana, then the law and order and allocation of government buildings. Which government building will be given to which state government in Hyderabad, and the law and order of Hyderabad has been given to what? To governor. Are we clear on this? That's there with respect to the special responsibility with respect to various states. This list has to be mugged up because it is extremely likely that a question on the independence of governor, their performance of functions can be asked, and if it is asked, then these points need to be mentioned. Oh, Dinesh, what about safety of her who complied? Dinesh, I don't understand what this is. Nikhil, remission for these kind of criminals paint a grape. That's the harsh reality. Kambapati, not in Telangana, sir. Not in Telangana. What is that reference? Anyway, so that's it. So, lastly, just to summarize this point, there are some explicit powers explicitly mentioned, meaning clearly mentioned in the constitution, the powers given to the governor. Explicit power. Referential veto, Article 200, discretion. Then this is Article 239. We'll discuss this provision when we study union territories. Special power of governor. Whenever the governor is made the uh, administrator of a neighboring UT, then for that UT, the governor enjoys full powers. He or she manages the UT independently. Then special responsibility for various states, discretionary power of governor, and Article 167, duty of CM to furnish information. This is also discretionary power. These are all on the discretionary power. Are we clear? Then some more discretionary powers, but this time they are more in the implied sense, not mentioned very clearly in some article, but are mentioned inherently, indirectly. For example, sending a negative report. The governor can send a negative report against any state government to the president that, sir, in this state, there is complete breakdown of the constitutional machinery. Impose president's rule. Then selecting CM in the hung assembly, dismissing council of ministers when it cannot prove the confidence, and dissolving the assembly if the council has lost its majority. Just like we have the president, the same thing here as well, right? All these are the powers of the uh, governors. Are we clear on this? Any doubt? Any confusion? Any concern? Done. Okay. Solve this question asked in 2019. Absolutely correct. Which of the following suggested that the governor should be an eminent person from outside the state, detached figure without intense political links, etc., and should not have taken part in politics in recent past? Sarkaria Commission, though the year is actually not correct, it should be 1983. But anyway, that's okay. No problem. We are done with the governor. Now, Council of Ministers, nothing to be studied here. We have covered everything, right? So the position of chief minister and the council of ministers is analogous, similar to the position of the PM and the council of ministers at the center. Okay, this means what? Just like Article 75, we have Article 164, meaning governor appoints CM and other ministers. There is a concept of collective responsibility, pleasure doctrine, then Nayak article, all these things are mentioned here also. Now, one more point, maximum number of ministers. How much is that? 15% of total membership of the legislative assembly. Just like the center, 15% of total number of members of the what? Lok Sabha. Now tell me, what's the minimum number of ministers? At the central level, is there any minimum mentioned? Tell me. At least this much. Maximum is mentioned. Is there any minimum? At the central level, nothing is mentioned. But at the state level, we need to have at least 12 ministers. Are we clear? This is all the same 91st Amendment Act of the year 2003. Okay. So at the state level, maximum is the same, 15%, but minimum is different. It is actually just 12. Now, one more thing, at the central level, what type of ministers, whether it will be finance minister, home minister, that is not mentioned, but PM is there. But at the central level, at the state level, same thing. What type of ministers, home minister, finance, not mentioned. But under Article 164, in 4 states, one type of minister is mandatory. So, what is that? The governor also needs to appoint a tribal welfare minister. So, whether you appoint home minister or not is of no concern, but you need to appoint a tribal welfare minister in the states of Jharkhand, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, and Madhya Pradesh. In these 4 states, it is mandatory to appoint a tribal welfare minister. Are we clear on this? Everyone? Done. We are done with the state executive. And the last point, also nothing to be discussed here. Advocate General is just like the Attorney General. He is the highest law officer in the state. 2 points to note: appointment and removal of the Advocate General is done by Governor. And point 2, please tell me what is the qualification to be an Attorney General? Tell me, what is the qualification to be an Attorney General of India? The same that is required to be a Supreme Court judge, right? Here also, same thing. Qualification, same as High Court judge. The only difference being there Supreme Court, here High Court. Clear? That's it. And here also we have the same concept. There is an Article 88. Can you please tell me what is Article 88? If you remember by any chance, what is Article 88? No? No idea? Okay, very good. Kambapati, nice. Right of the right of the ministers and attorney general to sit, speak, take part in proceedings, and be named member of committee of any house. Same thing here also. Just like Article 88, we have a similar kind of article, which is Article 177, meaning the ministers can take part in the meetings of assembly and council, and also the advocate general can sit and take part and speak in the meetings of the state legislature. Clear? That's also there. Done. We are done with the state executive. Tomorrow we'll take up for discussion in the morning state legislature, a small topic, maybe 1 hour at best or 1.5 hours, not more than that. Then we'll discuss the panchayats, municipalities. Large part of our afternoon will be spent in discussing panchayats, municipalities. In the evening, the fag end, we'll start a discussion on judiciary as well. Clear? That's it. We are done for the day. That's all from me for today. Jai Hind, guys. In case you have queries or questions, please ask me your concerns. Questions, if at all you have any. Feel free. Deepa, which topic? 747. No question at all, guys. No question means either of the two things. Either I am teaching very nice, or the match is too interesting to focus on the studies. Urvashi, sir, how article create? Sorry? Urvashi, please clarify. In case you have no questions, guys, feel free to leave, no problem. Others who have queries and concerns can wait, ask their queries, get them resolved. Parshuram, on what basis the number of committees people are decide? No, basically these things have been decided earlier only, right? And on the basis of at that point of time what the house felt that okay 30 people are sufficient. That's how the committees have been decided. The size has been decided, right? No hard and fast rule. Absolutely correct, Deepa. Anuranjan, uh, the point of discussion on bills, if there is a bill, the same kind of bill in West Bengal also, right? So, no opinion on that. Though in these states, both were wrong. Both the governor and the behavior of governor and the behavior of the state government, both was a bit too much. So, yes, but again, since it's just a in the nascent stage of a bill, and in the West Bengal also, the governor did raise the concern of sending the bill. So we cannot make any informed opinion on what will happen in future. Gaurav, what's the best way to revise? Best way to revise is to read the topic again and again and again and solve MCQs. That can also make the revision more interesting. Don't know article plus minus. Ignore it, not required. That is something I just gave to help you if you can correlate. No problem. Mug up the article separately. Not an issue. Urvashi. One nation, Sudeep, again, this topic is not a point of discussion right now. Once we discuss elections, we can have it, a discussion on it. Apurva, so recently I saw a case in my neighborhood of girls under. Uh, See, if the photographs were objectionable, yes. Otherwise, not really. But if you are circulating it against somebody's wishes or against somebody's permission, that can be seen as violating the privacy of an individual. No, Payal, I will not. You please frame the answer. I mean, see, look at the bright side of Rajya Sabha. That should we really abolish it? Is the point. I mean, after all, Rajya Sabha is performing such amazing functions, has such special powers. So, should we really? So, the answer is right in front of you. When a body has some special powers which nobody else has, if you remove the body, then I hope you get the point where I'm leading this to. Right? If the special powers are there with the body and the body is removed, then who will perform those special powers? Uh, then Apurva, it's all about right to privacy. If somebody is insistent on that, they can actually file a case. But I don't see much merit in anything wrong here. Are you clear, guys? Kamapati, can governor refer bills to president which under a purview of stately subjects? Yes, Kamapati, that's not a concern. If any bill is of larger public interest, etc., then those bills can be referred without doubt. Jayant, both the states give the salary, and the salary is distributed between the both states in the on the basis of the ratio of population of the states. So, in the same ratio of population, both the states pay the salary in that same ratio. Deepa, read editorials, more and more editorials. That will improve the vocabulary in general. When the governor is appointed by the president, the governor is from the union government part. No, no, no. Appointment by the president does not just make you the union. The location of the locus of that post in the constitution, that is what makes you a part of union or the state. Like high court judges, they're appointed by the president. So can we say that the high court judges are at the central level? Of course not, right? So appointment does not place you under union or state. It's the placement in the constitution that sets that criteria. Okay, Parshuram? Uh, Niranjan, state executive, the articles I mentioned here are sufficient articles. So in case you want important articles, though 163, 164, 167, right? And also now see, the point is that article 356 will be studying it in future. 155, 156 not really important, but maybe 213 for the governor's ordinances, right? And 254. So here I mentioned very few articles. These articles are important that you should know. Otherwise, other articles may not really be of great importance. Okay. Should we end our discussion now? All doubts resolved. Great. So let's meet tomorrow, guys, at 10 in the morning. And we'll begin our discussion on some very, very important topics for the main examination. That is all as far as today's class is concerned. Jai Hind.